Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk Relationship 101. I am your host, Tina Reed, and I am so excited to be back with you. One more episode of an awesome show. You know, I'm always say that. And I'm also joined by my ever so loving and popular Dr. Douglas King, Reverend Douglas King.
Greetings, everybody. Glad to be back on this platform with my good friend, Lady Tina Reed.
I know. Listen, remember, family, we are just real people having real conversations about real relationships. That's it.
That's right.
So today's topic is going to be led by our co-host this time. I got a chance to take a day off.
Well, today we want to kind of look at what are the roles of men and women. And this is for those that are considering taking their relationship to the next level. You know, those that are considering marriage, those that are maybe already married, and you just want to give your relationship a kickstart. You want to, you just want to take your marriage to the next level. You want to maximize. And so this program, this segment, is for those who really want to see their marriages go to the next level. So many times, men and women, we clash because we don't know our roles. We don't know our responsibilities. And so today we want to try to help men and women to understand that there are specific roles. One time I was flipping the television, Tina, and I saw Oprah, and she was interviewing Will and Jada Smith. She asked Will and Jada, what's the secret to their relationship, and Will and Jada said, we know our roles. We know our roles. You know, there's some things that Will handles, and there's some things that I handle. But then also, when I see Will not handling some things, I help him, and he helps me, and so it's more of a team effort. Right. And I think so many marriages would benefit from that concept. I said, you know what, that sounds so very good, because a lot of time we think, well, you do your thing, you do my thing. Right. But I think when we work together, it's better. It's always, because I think that's but I think that where we get mixed up is that because of the way society has become a single parent home, grandparents are raising children, mom and dad out doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody's loving themselves. Right. Nobody wants to get in. Everyone wants to be so independent. I want to do it my way. I don't care nothing about what nobody says. And I think that's what's taking a lot of people out of their roles. And my husband and I was talking about this the other night, and he was saying he thinks that's what happens to the breakdown, or has happened to the breakdown of the family, is the fact that husbands not husbands anymore, wives not wives, and the men are not in proper place. Right. And that's why the children don't know their place. Right. And so, and I told him, I said, yes, I said, but I believe the problem happened was in 1950, 1960s, and the 70s, and all those type of marriages, men were so dominant. Right. And there was a very few that allowed the wives to have say-so, to be a partnership, a team. Back in the day, I didn't know marriages as being a team. Mm-hmm. I knew marriages as being the man in the house. He say what he got to say. He gonna do what everybody do what he say do. Right. You know, and that's the end of it. Right. She cook, she clean, she make sure the children are fine. Right. That's it. Right. The man take care of the business. Right. Part of it. And I think that's what left women so empty. Right. You know, because that's not what God intended. Right. You know, He didn't intend for Eve to come and He called her to help me, didn't he? Right, that's right. Okay, so, and then that word submissive is what happened. So tell us what you find out about them. Well, I have two books here that from Dr. Miles Monroe, and of course you can Google him. He died back in 2014, but God really used him to write some very powerful books, and he wrote two books which
I was telling Lady Tina that I purchased over 20 years ago. One of the books is Understanding the Purpose and Power of a Man and Understanding the Purpose and Power of a Woman. And in this book, he pretty much breaks down the purpose of a man, the purpose of a woman. He deals with the need of a man before he gets married.
Yes,
he deals with the need of a woman before she gets married. He deals with the roles. He says that, you know, when God created men and women, they're both equal, but they have different roles. Yeah. And I think a lot of times when we enter into relationships, you know, there's always this struggle between, you know, am I going to be equal to my man, or, you know, or I got to keep my wife in a state of submission. Mm-hmm. But in reality, when God created man and woman, he created them equal, mm-hmm. but they have different functions. Mm-hmm. You know, they have different functions. And so it's so important. And again, this is for those that are seriously considering taking their marriages to the next level. Or maybe you just say, you know what, I've been married for some years, but I just really need to take my marriage to another level. Could you help me? And so we want to be able to help you to understand that you should see your wife as your partner. You should see your wife as your teammate, not your enemy, you know, and, you know.
Not somebody you dread.
Right. And one of the things that Dr. Miles Monroe says that every man should have a vision. You know, he should have a vision. He should have a vision for where he wants to take the marriage or take his relationship. Where do we see ourselves in 5 years? And of course, he says, women, if your man has a vision and you're not in it,
that's not your man. Just say it straight. Tell them folks straight. Tell these folks straight.
Yeah. He said,
that ain't your man, boo. Not your man.
And if he don't see you, if you're not part of that 5-year plan, if you're not part of that 10-year plan, then you're definitely with the wrong man. You need to find somebody that can see you as y'all walk alongside life together in vision. And so it's very important that men have vision. Every man is designed to be a leader. Now, you may not act like a leader. You may not see yourself as a leader, but inside, it's like every male lion. Every male lion has a roar. Now,
y'all better start growling. I mean, roaring, not growling.
he may have to, and see, one thing about this, you can learn. You know, you can learn by being around other strong men. You know,
you can.
And that's one thing I want to impress upon men, that if we want to be strong, we need to be around other strong men.
You do. And I think that's the problem. We don't have the example of strong, but yet submissive. You strong, but yet you humble. Mm-hmm. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, where where the man understands that I'm strong enough that I know I'm in charge of what's going on.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, if my wife has it, that's fine. If she has it, it doesn't demean me any. It doesn't take less value out of me. It's just that at the time she got it.
That's right.
You know, she has it.
You're right.
And so with that being said, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we're back. We were talking about in today's segment, we're talking about the roles of men and women in relationships. I think this is why we are so all over the place, is because people don't know their role. Every relationship runs differently, but there is a certain makeup to every relationship, to every man, to every woman. I have friends who are married, and I hear them say some things that I saw in my husband, or I see my husband do. Mm-hmm. And they are no kin to each other.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Or they, you know, they're not twins, let's put it like this.
Right.
And then I'm pretty sure you have friends that have wives that they tell you, or y'all talking, and that's some of the similarities that you see in your wife.
Right.
So what is the book we're talking about? Understanding the purpose and power of men and women, or the roles that they play, and that was written by Dr. Miles Monroe. He passed back in 2014, as Pastor said, and I'm talking about a great man of God. His vision was unreal. His anointing was unreal. So we definitely give homage to him.
Yes.
So tell us about, what did he say exactly about, first let's start with the man.
Well, first of all, again, he says a man ought to have a vision. Every man, ought to have a vision. Where are you going? Where do you want to see this relationship? Every man ought to have a vision. You ought to know where you're going. You ought to know what direction you're going. You ought to have some insight. You ought to be able to sit down with your family, just like every quarterback calls the huddle. And say, this is the play.
That's it.
And relay that vision. Cast that vision before your family, so that your family can work together to make that vision into reality. And I think a lot of times, in many homes, there is no vision. We become so entangled, Lady Tina, with the world. We become so entangled with our busy schedules. I'm working, she's working, we're taking the child here, we're taking the child there. We're pulled in so many different directions.
Right.
But so many times, we don't have a vision for our household. We don't have a vision when it comes to finances. We don't have a vision when it comes to the welfare of our children, direction our children need to be going. And so one of the things that Dr. Miles Monroe talked about is every man ought to have a vision. Second thing he says, every man ought to be a provider. A provider. And it goes without saying, every man is supposed to work.
Work somewhere.
Work somewhere.
You gotta have a job. The Bible said a man don't work.
He don't.
He don't eat.
He don't eat. Now, your man may not make 6 figures. Your man may not make 7 figures. Your man may not make 8 figures. But do you have a job? Because there are not a whole lot of 6-figure jobs just waiting for you to jump on. Sometimes you have to
make them.
Right. Sometimes you have to start where you're at and then work yourself up. But every man ought to see themselves as provider. When you take on a family, when you take on a wife, when you take on responsibility, you should ask yourself, are you willing to provide? Are you willing to endow her? When she marries you and takes on your name, do you add value to her, or do you enhance her life, or is she looking like, man, I'm so pitiful.
I just added some weight. See, he's trying to play with it. Do you add value, or do you add weight? That's the question. Are you just adding to her child load, or are you adding serious value to her life? And what that is when a man, and you're absolutely right, I agree with you, when a man has a vision, there's nothing sexier on a man than a man know where they're going.
Right.
Or have purpose.
Right.
There's nothing sexier than a man who said, no, baby, we can't do that, because remember, we're trying to do this.
Right.
I understand that. We'll get it next time.
Right.
Or let's try to save for that. But right now, remember, baby, you said you wanted this.
Right.
And that's when, as a woman, we have to learn how to humble ourselves then to go,
right.
You know what? He's right.
Right. And I'm glad you said that, Lady Tim, because even in a woman saying, well, you're supposed to provide for me, everything has to be done in moderation. You can't spend beyond your means. If you're only making, $10 an hour, you can't expect him every week to shower you with extravagant things or things that you see your friends have or things that you see on television. You have to be willing to allow your man to work, and then those things that you want in time. And that's where the vision comes in, and that's where, okay, I may not be able to give you this right now, but just say, give me 10, give me 20, 15 years, I'll be able to do those things. And so that's something that needs to be said, because a lot of times most marriages are unravel because of money issues, finances.
That's true.
Finances.
So would you say that the best thing to do is that when you first get married, everyone needs to be kind of concerned with the credit, getting the credit scores up? I think that, and that's a mistake that we all made.
Right.
Was, okay, he has good credit, hers shaky.
Right.
Or she has great credit, his is shaky.
Right.
Now, my own personal opinion is if both of you get together and say, okay, baby, well, now, I'm not going to not be with you because, you don't have good credit.
Right.
I think what we can do is, let's go on, we can do what we got to do, God ordained, let's get married. Okay, now, baby, we need to look at your credit score and we need to get it up.
Right.
What do we need to do? Because we both, it's like, and this is true, it's like being handicapped. Mm-hmm. All of your other body parts are working except for your leg, right, or one side of your body is not working as efficient as it could because the credit score is not right.
Right.
Because mine was jacked up, and I was telling my husband the same thing. I said, now, I'm no good to you. I got to get this together.
Right. Right.
Because when he has gone to the bank and done this and done that, okay, well, baby, we can get that. Our money will allow. Okay, we'll go get it.
Right.
But I can't go get it.
Right.
I can't go get it.
Right.
So to me, I think that when you first come into a relationship, the stronger person financially has to be the one that takes over the finances. And I mean, it got to be some checks and balances.
It does.
You don't just give all your money over to folks and they don't never look at it.
I agree.
We don't do that.
I agree.
But
totally.
what we do is we can sit down as a business, sit at the table like we sit.
Right.
Get the papers out, get the checks out.
Right.
Say, now, baby, this is the bills we get that's due on the 15th.
Right.
These are due on the 20th.
Right.
These are due here, and what we need to do to get those together.
Right.
And I think that now for the money part. And now he said, okay, so we have to have a vision.
A vision.
Okay, and he has to be
a provider.
And then what's our next one?
And then he should be a protector. Every woman wants to be in a secure relationship. She wants to feel like that she's protected. She don't want to be abused. She don't want to be hit on physically, verbally, emotionally. Every woman wants to be in a secure relationship. I think every man ought to take pride in knowing that my wife, my woman, is safe with me, and that if anything goes down, if something goes down in the middle of the night, I'm the first one to jump up. Not my wife saying, "What you gonna do?" No, because she's looking to me for protection, to protect the investment, to protect our family, to protect not just protect her physically, but to protect our reputation, our marriage. Because so many times marriages are unprotected.
They are. With that being said, we'll be right back. Hey guys, we're back. Now we're talking about the roles of men and women in relationships. But this is my question before you get to that.
Okay.
And it's the society and what we live in. This is what it is. Well, if two men are together and two women are together, then how is that to be? I mean, what role do they play?
A dysfunctional role.
Yeah. Why you say that?
Well, the reason why I say it is because, again, I'm not condemning anybody, but I believe that God never has given instructions for two people of the same sex to be a married, because again, according to some of the things that Dr. Miles Monroe teaches in the book, he says that a man has an out and a woman has an in.
Yeah.
And if you put two men together,
them two outs.
You got two outs.
And two women is two ends.
It's two ends. And so one of the reasons why God put a man and woman together is for production.
Yeah.
To be fruitful, to multiply. And of course, you know, 2 men and 2 women cannot produce, cannot multiply.
No, they can't. And I was just thinking about that during our break. How does that play into the relationship? Because you still have 2 men trying to do the same thing. But at the same time, when 2 men are in the relationship, I do see one is a little bit more feminine than the other one.
Right.
So even then, and what I'm trying to point to is that number one thing about it, we want y'all to understand before y'all give us hate mail and go do all that talking and all that. But our belief is what the Christian belief is.
Right.
But at the same time, God instructed us to love.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And what we're saying is, even in those relationships, you still have to have a dominant and a more submissive one.
Right.
You know, what you call it, a dominant and a passive.
And passive. And I believe even in those relationships, you do have someone that has designated they're the male and they're the female.
Right.
And so even in that kind of situation, I believe they have established their roles.
Right.
As far as who's going to be the male, who's going to be the female, if it's that case.
Yeah, see that's and so even in then, and that was my whole point of bringing it up was even in those relationships,
right?
People still have
roles.
The male, the dominant and the passive. Y'all still have roles to do. You know, roles in a relationship.
Right.
Okay, so now we've talked about the man. He's supposed to have a vision, a
visionary, provider, and protector.
Okay, now let's talk about these old girls now.
Okay, Miles Monroe teaches that every woman is an enhancer. You know, every woman should support her husband's vision. You know, or should be a part of his vision, should be actively participating in the vision. You know, the man says, this is the vision, this is where I see us going. He calls the huddle, he calls the meeting, we sit around the table, honey, where are we going? This is what I'm believing for by the end of 2017. The woman, she takes it and then she begins to enhance it.
I like that.
She enhances what she hear her husband say. She takes it. Again, a lot of the great men that you see out there, they have great women beside them.
Yeah.
And so I just use T.D. Jakes for example. He says that a lot of things that you see him do, it's not just him. You may not see Lady Jakes next to him at that time, but a lot of things that they do, Lady Jakes has enhanced and caused him to be able to do some of the things that he's able to do. Even though he may be the front person, Lady Jakes is still, her work is seen in the ministry.
So to me, listening to what you say, quoting him, both great visionaries within outright, because Dr. Miles Monroe and Dr. Jakes, they are 2 big, you know, they understood things to this capacity, far more or better anointed than I've ever seen. But this is the deal with women, I feel, because we had to assume the role of the dominant one, or we had to acquire the leadership in the house.
Right.
So I've been that for 10 or 15 years. I've led my home. I've been the man, the woman, the doctor, everybody in the house.
Right.
So now it's time for me to, you know, the Lord has brought this person to me, or it's time I want a relationship.
Right.
And I think because I've been so dominant, now I've become so protected of what I've established and what I've built.
Right.
So what do you say to that woman, you know, it's time for you to lay back and...
I say that you need to talk with your husband and let them know, you know, baby, I believe that God put us together. We made some vows, we made some commitments, and I don't want to be the leader. I want you to lead, and I lead with you. I don't want to be the leader. I want to lead with you. So I want to relinquish some of my burden or some of my responsibility and say, I trust you. I trust the God in you. I trust the male in you. When I saw you, there's some qualities about that man that you saw. You said, man, he looks like a leader. There's something about the man that attracted you to him. Build that man up and tell him, honey, I believe in you. I believe that you got it. And I believe every man wants to hear his woman say, baby, I believe you. I trust you. And if you can encourage him and trust him, I believe and I hope that every man will listen to that and say, you know what, my woman wants me to lead, and so I'm going to be more active. If I've been kind of passive, I've been kind of laid back, I'm going to kind of be more active, because a lot of women want a man to lead.
I love it. Again, there's nothing more sexy, or there's nothing sexier. Let me use my proper grammar. There's nothing sexier than a man who can stand up and know his position and can play his role well, and even get a little forceful in the tone if he sees that I am not. Now, I didn't say get crazy. I didn't say get crazy,
right.
man. But I'm just saying, if it's like no, no.
Right.
And I think every woman wants that. She wants a man who can stand up and do. But the thing about it is, women, I'm gonna say this to you, and then we're about to end this segment. But you cannot enhance beating down. You can't beat him down.
Nagging.
You can't nag him. I don't care. You can't do it. We're going to find other constructive ways to make brother do what you need to be done. Right. And with that being said, we're going to end this. That's the end for today. Listen, subscribe. Go to YouTube and subscribe to Let's Talk Relationship 101's channel. We thank you so much for joining us today. You see, I told you he had it. I just laid back. He did a good job. And once again, just remember, be safe in all your relationships. In words?
Just want to encourage everybody to have great relationships, love one another, and remember that we're just regular people. Our words are not law. We're just trying to help people to have great relationships. So please subscribe. Subscribe, share, pass the word. Thank you so much for listening.
We'll see you later. See you next time. One love.
Bye-bye.
Bye.